Chapter 1 of Jacob Faithful. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by NoelBadrian. Jacob Faithful by Captain Marryat. Chapter 1. My birth, parentage, and family pretensions. Unfortunately, I proved to be a detrimental or younger son, which is remedied by a trifling accident. I hardly received the first elements of science from my father, when the elements conspire against me, and I am left an orphan. Gentle reader, I was born upon the water, not upon the salt and angry ocean, but upon the fresh and rapid flowing river. It was in a floating sort of box, called a lighter, and upon the river Thames, at low water, that I first smelt the mud. This lighter was manned, an expression amounting to bullism if not construed kindly, by my father, my mother, and your humble servant. My father had sole charge. He was monarch of the deck. My mother, of course, was queen, and I was the heir apparent. Before I say one word about myself, allow me dutifully to describe my parents. First, then, I will portray my queen mother. Report says that when she first came on board of the lighter, a lighter figure and a lighter step never pressed a plank. But as far as I can tax my recollection, she was always a fat, unwieldy woman. Locomotion was not to her taste. Gin was. She seldom quitted the cabin, never quitted the lighter. A pair of shoes may have lasted her for 5 years, for the wear and tear she took out of them. Being of this domestic habit, as all married women ought to be, she was always to be found when wanted. But, although always at hand, she was not always on her feet. Towards the close of the day she lay down upon her bed, a wise precaution when a person can no longer stand. The fact was that my honoured mother, although her virtue was unimpeachable, was frequently seduced by liquor, and although constant to my father, was debauched, and to be found in bed with that insidious assailer of female uprightness, gin. The lighter, which might have been compared to another Garden of Eden, of which my mother was the Eve, and my father the Adam to consort with, was entered by this serpent who tempted her, and if she did not eat, she drank, which was even worse. At first, indeed, and I may mention it to prove how the enemy always gains admittance under a specious form, she drank it only to keep the cold out of her stomach, which the humid atmosphere from the surrounding water appeared to warrant. My father took his pipe for the same reason. But at the time that I was born he smoked and she drank from morning to night, because habit had rendered it almost necessary to their existence. The pipe was always to his lips, the glass incessantly to hers. I would have defied any cold ever to have penetrated into their stomachs. But I have said enough of my mother for the present. I will now pass on to my father. My father was a puffy, round-bellied, long-armed little man, admirably calculated for his station in, or rather out, of society. He could manage a lighter as well as anybody, but he could do no more. He had been brought up to it from his infancy. He went on shore for my mother, and came on board again, the only remarkable event in his life. His whole amusement was his pipe, and, as there is a certain indefinable link between smoking and philosophy, my father, by dint of smoking, had become a perfect philosopher. It is no less strange than true that we can puff away our cares with tobacco.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?